Bye. So Tesla left me stranded, kind of. Let me explain. I was driving Lyft a couple of weeks ago, Friday night about 5:30. I'm driving into a parking lot. I emerge a little bit too late to go into the parking lot, and of course there was a giant pothole right there in between both lanes. And so I hit the pothole with my front left tire, and it made a pretty sizable thud. The passenger in the back even noticed. I got the notice that there was a flat tire, but thankfully I was able to drop her off, wish her a good day, and I was able to park right then and there. Now, it was such a hard hit that the rim itself was indented, and you can see that in the video, although at first it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, but upon closer inspection, you could see that the tire was pretty badly damaged. Which sucked because I literally had the tires rotated 2 days before on Wednesday. Shout out to Tesla Mobile Service, by the way. They came to my house on Wednesday and were done in about an hour rotating all the tires and fixed some of the camera issues on the front facing camera. And apparently I wasn't the only person who had problems with this pothole. There was a Chevy Bolt parked right behind me who also had a similar issue, and they had someone come and fix their car for them. Someone right over there also popped their tire, I think. Onto the service request itself. Now, on the Tesla display, the PSI card actually read that the front driver's was fine, but the back driver's tire was at 0 PSI, which was not accurate at all. It was the front driver's that was flat. I put in my request at 5:26 p.m. to service the one tire and received a response by about 5:33. So pretty good timing on their end. They actually were asking if I could bring in the car the next day between 7 and 11 a.m. And after letting them know that I was in a parking lot, I couldn't just leave my car overnight. They asked if I accepted the cost to repair both tires, which again, only the front driver's seat was damaged. But I also had the Tesla Tire Protection Program in August when I picked up my Model 3. Great investment, by the way, $140, and it covers you for a year for all sorts of repair on your tires, so that definitely came in handy. After clarifying that it was just a front driver's tire, they agreed to amend the service request to only focus on that tire. When I asked if they could have someone out to service me that same day, they asked that I first accept the quote of $350. I didn't want to hassle too much with the person on the other end, so I just said, fine, I'll accept the charge, whatever, I'll deal with the tire protection at the service center, I thought. So after accepting, they told me a tow truck would arrive in about 45 minutes and take me to the service center in Long Beach. Shout out to the service center in Long Beach, by the way, 1800 Spring Street, you guys are awesome. But anyway, not even 15 minutes later, someone actually showed up on a flatbed, which is a clip that you saw at the beginning of this video. And off we went. Luckily, we arrived about 6:30 p.m. The service center closed at 7. I was talking to some of the guys there, and they said if you had arrived at 6:45, we probably wouldn't have accepted you. But since we're just a little bit early, we will gladly take in your car. And they checked that I did in fact have the tire protection program and quoted me $0. They did let me know that they didn't have the parts necessary to fix the tire. I'm not a mechanic, I'm not sure what they were talking about, but they said that they would try to have this by Monday or the next day, Saturday, if at all possible. So seeing that I had a road trip planned for that weekend, Saturday, and returning Sunday, I asked if they could hook me up with the loaner vehicle. And luckily, they hooked me up with a 2022 Model Y long range all-wheel drive. Of course, it's been a couple of years since that vehicle came out, so the total range was about 280 miles instead of the 320 that I think it was when it launched 3 years ago. I was hoping for a Cybertruck, but hey, you can only get so lucky in a day, I guess. So Monday comes around, I'm checking the Tesla app every couple of minutes. Originally, it said my car would be ready at 9:30. That didn't happen. And then it said it would be ready by 12:30. At 12:15, I get a call from the service center confirming that my car was ready for pickup. I went to the service center with my parents. They really liked the roomy interior of the Model Y. My dad is 6'5" on a good day, so it's difficult for him to go into my Model 3. But he really liked the roomy interior that the Model Y offered and the higher off-the-ground clearance. They were blown away and shocked by the experience. You just had to drop off the Model Y loaner, walk to my Model 3, and step in without ever having to talk to anyone. So after picking that up, presto, we were off to Costco. Here we go, nice and done. We're at Costco. So in conclusion, the service itself wasn't half bad. I got a little bit worried because they were saying that they would send out a technician the next day, but I was in the public parking and I wasn't about to leave my car there overnight. But thankfully, the customer service representative was able to hook me up with a flatbed and towed the car to the service center in Long Beach. So the delivery of my car to the service center was pretty speedy, about 10-15 minutes. They were fast and efficient. again, props to that whole team over there. They were able to hook me up, check the car in for repairs, and were able to loan me a Model Y. Shout out to Tesla's tire protection program. For only $140, it protects you for 1 year. It covers tires and rims. Otherwise, I would have paid $330 if it weren't for that, but I paid $0. So that's my service repair story with my Model 3. Shout out to Jorge, the service center rep there at Long Beach. He was great. And overall, a pretty great experience. I was definitely nervous there for a little bit, but they were able to hook me up, and I was back on the road in my car on Monday. Thanks for watching.